Hello, hello, beautiful ladies. This is Dr. Angelika Christie, your host of the show, Your Radiant Life Over 45. It's a show for women who want more from life, want to create better health, better relationships, better opportunities, just to make a bigger impact and live as long in a healthy body as possible. And this platform, the Win-Win Women platform, you can find so many other shows that teach you amazing things on all levels that life presents you with. So my show, I'm a naturopathic doctor, I'm a relationship coach and spiritual teacher. So I create kind of the triad of life. Your spirituality, which is your true nature, knowing your body, this incredible physical machine and instrument and magical capabilities it has to live your life and experience it to the highest degree of awareness and satisfaction, yes? And of course, relationships. And the relationship that is the most important, of course, is the one you have with yourself. And yet, if that is not a great relationships, you cannot really create other great relationships. Yes, do you agree with me? Okay, so without further ado, let's just jump into this this episode. As you can see, I'm traveling. I'm not in my usual surroundings, but hopefully everything goes well here. Okay, so today I want to start a 2 or 3 part episode, a series of skills. I want to talk about 5 skills for women of your age, my age, anyway, over 45, to have greater health and more loving relationships, okay, or experience more love. So the first skill is the skill of total clarity of what you want at any moment, but especially even going a little bit ahead with the vision of how do you envision the second part of your life? That is clarity. And write it down, and that you can tweak it, but clarity about you and the second part, what you want to experience in the second part of your life, is important. And then the second skill is the skill of courage. It's the courage to break through your anxieties maybe and really get what you desire, because we women often believe we are not good enough, or we are too this, or we don't have this. If that would happen, then it would be easier. You know, we have all of these pullbacks, and it takes courage to get them out of the way and march forward with zest and with confidence and with joy in your heart, because the universe works for you and is for you when you show that you are clear with what you know and that you have the courage to move forward. Okay, so those are the 2 ones I'm going to talk to you about today. And in the next episode, I will speak about the skill of commitment to your highest potential and so many other things concerning commitment. And the 4th one that I probably will share with you in the next episode is the skill of attracting the relationships that support you and bring you joy that you deserve and that you want to prepare yourself for as well. And the last skill, and maybe that takes a whole episode in itself, will be the skill of discipline in your body. The discipline through body fitness, through mindfulness, through meditation, because the body, your body, mind, spirit, emotions, all of that is one. And the alignment of it is so important, because when something is out of whack, when your body is sluggish and you're not feeling well, then your spirit is probably not really high, but we can do something about it. And body awareness and physiology is where you can start, and it's very successful and very effective. Okay, so today we start with clarity. In many episodes, not in many, but in quite a number of them, I am speaking about clarity, courage, and commitment, because in all of my teachings, those are the three most important aspects for anything to be successful. Okay, so starting with clarity. And it's about you, right? It's not about clarity about somebody else or some outer thing. It is clarity for you. What do you want? And so often when I ask one of my clients this question, they say, well, I'm not really sure. I don't really know. You see, then the universe cannot really provide, right? So clarity means you to know what you want, and that can shift, but you have to have clarity what you want at a certain point, right? At least, and maybe an overview. And then when you go on the journey, you can shift and adjust and pivot. But you know, talking about going on a journey, because your whole life is a journey. Our lives are journeys through incredible experiences, and we don't really know everything. We know much less than we want to know, but we can create clarity about the things we have control over. And then we have to sometimes let go and shift and reposition ourselves. Okay, so what do you want? Second, where are you? Third is, where do you want to be? And even, is there a timeline? Where do you want to be in the next couple of months or years? Put in a timeline. And then when you know what you want and where you are and where you want to be, then you can plan for the trip. And that means, what do you need to take with you on this journey to where you want to be? What must you let go of? Because, you know, you cannot pack yourself full. There's only so much you want to take, even because you don't want to drag along things that are not necessary. You want some freedom to maybe also acquire something on the way and say, okay, I have space for this. I can make room for this. That's really important. And then the question is, who do you want to take with you on this journey? Who is it that you want to experience that journey with? You must have clarity about that. In your home, maybe as your partner, as your friends, as your personal friends, as your business friends. You know, they're all different considerations that you need clarity of. Yes, do you agree? Now, the one that many don't even think about, but it is also just as important, is, who do you leave behind? You cannot take everybody with you on the journey. You can't. I mean, when you think about a certain car, only so many people fit in there. And even on the journey of your life, that particular part to that particular goal in your life, who do you want to take with you? Who must you leave behind? Okay, who do you let go of? And whether for a little bit or forever. These are all considerations that you must create clarity on. And so start journaling so that you have something to look at, and then also have something to shift around and say, well, actually, you know, let me pivot a little bit here. Yeah, you get that? Okay, so clarity, right? Clarity starts with an inner process, an observation, an awareness, because when you, and hopefully you can write down these questions. Let me quickly repeat them again. So what do you want is the first one. Where are you in your life, or what is your, there can be A, B, and C under that, right? Where do you want to be? But where are you is also the position you are in right now, because just like a GPS system needs to know where your starting position is, where you are at this moment, when you march or move forward, so that it can create that path to the destination, to where you want to be. Yes, makes total sense. I know. So those were the three. Where do you want to be? 4, what do you need to take with you on the journey? All right, just write this down, because then leave some space, because you will have a lot to say about that whenever something else comes up. And number 5, what must you let go of to really not carry extra baggage with you? Yes? What must you let go of? It's a simple question, and it can have a lot of different answers. And then number 6, who do you want to take with you? You need clarity on that. Yes, so that it is aligned with what you want, where you are, what you desire, and all of this. And who must you leave behind? And sometimes that's a tough decision. And yet, it is important, and it is necessary to get clarity on that as well. So clarity starts with that inner process and the observation and the awareness. For example, there is something that, just give you an example. Do you catch yourself sometimes, maybe never, but have you ever caught yourself with wanting to tell a little lie? Yes, it can be tempting, right? And if your conscious taps you on the shoulder, reminding you that the story that you're about to tell is somewhat covering up the truth, overlaying the truth, in situations where you believe you messed up, but you're too embarrassed to admit it. Yes? Have you ever done this before? Or were you tempted to do it? You see, we have these great abilities in telling stories. Creating a story that makes sense can be very tempting because it's logical and whatever, but it's not the truth, right? And while you created something, a little story, a little lie that is not the truth, there is part of you, a consciousness that kicks in that knows that you just created a lie. You made up a story maybe of total fiction, and therefore you have to drown that inner dialogue of, or sweep it under the carpet to put it out of sight or out of your feeling. And yes, in the end, you have a great story that makes sense, but do you feel so great telling it if it's a lie, even if it's a little lie? No. Because part of you knows that it's a lie, no matter if it is just a little lie. It is a lie, is a lie, is a lie, right? Like you cannot be a little pregnant. Do you agree? It is what it is. Yes. So why don't we feel so great when that happens? And maybe you have never, ever, ever told a little lie. I know I have, and I know exactly how it feels. I also know that when I was about to tell it, that I stopped myself way before it, and I said, no, it's not. It's a lie. So why do I want to lay that on me? Because it is uncomfortable. It feels uncomfortable. Okay. Even if we can suppress it, but it is there. So why do we know this? Because when you are out of harmony with your own inner values and that own inner truth, that alignment, you are fractured. And it's an irritation, it's a disharmony, it's a misalignment, and therefore it's disaccord. It's not truth. It's disaccord. It is not in accordance. So it's a disaccord with your true inner self. So whether you sleep, whether you sit, whether you stand, whether you walk, whatever you do, whatever you say, you're always and constantly in the presence of truth, of the divine. It's an absolute truth. When you believe that there is a God, a higher power, no matter what religion you adopted to, or maybe don't even have one, but even being aligned, with just your own self, with your own truth, then it still counts, because there is that inner truth, your holy self, your divine self. And yet we forget it so often. Remember that you are not only in the presence of the divine, but that your very being is aligned with that divinity. Well, whether you believe it or not, your truth, your essence, your self, your true self is divine. It's that divine intrinsic part of you that gave you life, that gave you breath and purpose and the reason for being on earth in a physical body in this lifetime. So doesn't it make sense to check in with that inner reality that is unseen, yet powerful beyond imagination? I also call that inner truth, that inner divinity, that alignment with the God, most high in the universe, whatever you want to call it, even your God self. I call it the impersonal life. It is that unattached, impersonal life that is pure truth, pure authenticity, pure divinity, because it is not connected to your ego or even your lower personal desires, but that which you feel when you are touched by something that is beyond self-gratification, or that you just know comes from a higher level. Yes? So unless you want to be asleep, unconscious, and totally oblivious to your true being and why you are here, you must remember the presence of the divine in your life, as well as embrace your own divinity. So most of us are drifters. Too many amazing and talented women drift aimlessly without knowing that they are drifting, without really ever knowing their own magnificence, their own divinity. So it is time to wake up to yourself, your magnificent self, for your own purpose, for your own self-knowledge and self-development, but also for the world, because the world needs you to be fully awake and in your divine power. You see, your time is now. Your and my time are now. The time is now for both of us, for all of us, especially the woman, the more mature woman. Okay, so let me quickly go into the next, the second skill, which is courage. Do you not admire and are you not inspired by people's courage? For example, if you forsake your own safety to rescue somebody else, yeah, that takes courage. Sometimes a heroic act, and that one can come from a primal instinct that can just kick in. We all have that instinct. I have it and you have it too. We have that for others. And it may come from an old system where we are responsible for each other to create safety within our tribes. It also depends on your ancestors' history and how you were brought up, how courageous you are for another family member or others. Depending on your emotional and mental makeup, you may be somebody that is easily triggered to jump in, to rescue another. This sure looks like courage, and it is courage. And it is also driven by instinct, because there is not a lot of mental consideration involved if it happens from that part of your brain, that you just know, you jump in. For example, if a child is drowning in a pool and you're the only one around, maybe even if you cannot swim, you may jump in to rescue the child. That's not a conscious choice. It's an instinctive action triggered by something we often call our inner hero. All of us have that inner hero. Maybe I need a sip of water to bring the words out more properly. We all have it to a greater or lesser degree. So when we want to achieve something, also live to our highest possibilities, live our dream and experience true happiness in our life, courage feels a little different, whether it's in your relationship or in creating and living according to your life's purpose. It is not something that gets triggered because there is no danger involved, right? Therefore, it is much more challenging to tap into your courage for those reasons. For example, it takes courage to step out of your comfort zone and risk something new, doesn't it? Yes, that's a real courage. Why? Because we are creatures of habit and we are also creatures of comfort. We will naturally choose what feels safe and comfortable. 99% of the time. Oh yes, there are some exceptions. There are some daredevils who would find comfort and safety, who would find comfort and safety so boring that they would exchange it rather for excitement, the thrill, some life-threatening act in order to feel alive, truly alive. Bungee jumping out of an airplane, all kinds of things. But that's a very small group of us, yes, who are that pushing when it comes to courage, always having to prove it, doing something dangerous. But there can be many reasons why somebody chooses that kind of life. Could be an internal reason. Some feel that they always have to prove something. That's another kind of courage. And I fit a little bit into that category. Even though it looks courageous, the courageous act may actually be triggered by insecurity and the need to show up as a hero. For others, it's that there never seem to be enough. So what looks like courage is not always the courage that you believe it is. That courage is a factor that separates those who want to keep the status quo from those who dare to explore what's possible. Because when I started to say, if you know where you want to go, then you need the courage to change the status quo, right? To move forward. Most people feel comfortable with what they have experienced for some considerable time and got to feel that, this comfortable space that they're in, they really don't want to change. They don't want to change anything. And there is no judgment with that. But if you want to evolve and move forward and push the envelope and expand your capabilities and capacity to experience something new, You are called to find the courage that is necessary to honor and live that inner, unlimited, magnificent, and naturally courageous self. You, yes. Yes, I said naturally courageous because courage lives right within you. I get it. Just this last sentence may trigger resistance. Your brain may bring up instances from the past that seem to prove the opposite. And it does it automatically and at lightning speed, like alarm bells ring in your head and you step back and hesitate, and stress hormones rushing, adrenaline. So you stay with what your mind tells you, which is safe, but that mind comes from an ancient area of where your life was threatened all the time. I think we have lost a lot of that because of the modern world and the comfort we live in, right? We have shelter. We don't have to hunt for food. We don't have to risk our lives. We are not chased by wild and dangerous animals anymore. Our neighbors are not out to kill us like the neighboring tribes thousands of years ago, or maybe not, just hundreds of years ago. But anyway, we have created our lives with the maximum comfort and safety possible. But the downside is that we also have created a bondage to that lifestyle. We amass stuff that we can buy because we made the money, but we don't need all of that stuff. And then we feel the burden to have to protect it, right? So that nobody takes it away and we don't lose it. So that becomes a stressor. Do you know people who have amassed so much wealth in things, in stuff, that they are admired for their possessions, and it looks like they have arrived, they have it all. It looks like you want what they have. But do they really have it all? No, because most become more agitated, more irritated, and unhappier. But that doesn't have to be. I'm not saying here that money makes you unhappy or agitated or can become a burden. You have to know what it can do, right? You have to have clarity about it. So those who become agitated and become unhappier is because now they have to protect their possessions. They have to take care of it all and live in that angst, the worry, the anxiety of losing it, or not having enough, or the neighbor has more, so they still don't feel they have enough. But in contrast, can you envision somebody who just lives according to her talents, takes the opportunities as they present themselves? Flexibility and the will to change are involved in this. That calls for courage, moving into the unknown, the courage to change the status quo, to change something that you have become accustomed to and feel comfortable with, and step out of, step beyond, take the risk of not knowing the outcome or what will show up. So you need trust and faith when you conquer, when you go on a new path and conquer something that you have not known before. Creating conscious change takes courage, even for the one who has it all and decides to walk away, to let it all go. He or she too needs the courage to say, I let it go. I don't need this anymore. I can walk away from it. I give it all away. That also takes courage. We all go through changes because of outside circumstances, right? For example, you could lose your home for all kinds of reasons, financially, tornado, hurricanes, floodings, divorce, death. Your life can change drastically and rapidly. You need clarity and courage to figure out what to do next. And it plays a little bit into the previous theme of, even the choices that you have. We have talked about choices in another episode, which is part of the 7 C's. But the 3 most important one is clarity, courage, and then commitment. choices is one of the 7 C's. Okay. I have enjoyed sharing this with you. So in the next episode, I'm just finishing this up. There's only very little to add to courage. And then we move into commitment. That is so important because nothing happens without commitment. So I would love for you to be with me again next Saturday, same time, so that in the second part of the hour, I can actually have this live conversation with you. You can ask me questions. So if you can make it, please come and be my guest the next Saturday again, 12 Eastern Daylight Time. And if not, look for the replays. They are all in the archives, and so you can at least get this in, and then you can always email me or text me or call me, get in contact with me for any question that you may have. So this was everything I wanted to share with you today. And I know that you will apply some of it. Yes? Yes. Bye-bye for now. Until I see you next week. Yes? Yes.